This is the MO Sessions podcast, where we talk about magic ways to become a better magician to be good to your magic. I'm your host, Benny Slade, and I couldn't be any more thrilled that you are here. Welcome back to another episode of the MO Sessions. I'm glad you're here for another one. Thank you for listening, and I welcome you to this episode. Today we're going to talk about quality of props, tools, and effects. I think it's a really important topic to kind of talk about. This should be another quick one, so if you're in the car, at home, doing chores, mowing the lawn, whatever it is you're doing, wherever you're listening, thank you so much. Should be a quick one, so maybe you'll listen to 2, or maybe listen to 3. I don't know. We'll see. So, quality of props, tools, and effects is really important. And what is it about? Why do I want to talk about it? I want to talk about it because on my journey through trying to through my own magic and trying to figure out what I wanted to perform and where I wanted to perform it, etc., etc. In the previous episode, where I talk about connecting effects together to build a repertoire or a set or a show, I think it's really important to talk about making sure that your props are of quality. A lot of magicians don't always follow that, and that's okay. But I want you to leave magic better than when you found it. So I think it's really important to talk about the quality of your props, what props you're using, where you're getting them from, and things like that. So the first thing I'll talk about is some examples. And then I'll go off on a tangent about some things having to do with quality of effects, tools, and things like that. No, we'll start with that. I can't stand seeing magicians perform, and they're using an obnoxious colored back deck in the wrong setting or the wrong environment, unless it suits your style. Bringing your cardistry deck, which no knock on cardistry, love it, but don't bring your cardistry deck to perform at an elegant wedding. Let's just say that's black tie. Bring something classic, something classy, some tally-hos, some arcos, some blue ribbons, even bees if you're doing a gambling demonstration type of thing. Like, you don't need to bring like the neon stuff. I don't know. That's just my opinion. Going into the conversation about details, for me, it's like when I put my tools and props and my effects in my pockets on what I'm going to perform with. Number one, from top to bottom, my outfit is going to be of quality. Even if it's a t-shirt, make sure it's a comfortable t-shirt, a high-end t-shirt. Don't, even on this podcast, this was one of the original shirts that I made for the podcast. It's worn out by now, but this is a high-quality t-shirt. This is soft. This is what they sell in retail stores, and I purposely made them that way because I knew it was going to last a long time. So, business, like when you think about it, business cards, the way you present yourself, grooming, you gotta make sure it's all quality. Don't go to Great Clips and get a haircut. Please don't. As a barber who is a professional in the industry, don't go to Great Clips. If that's all you can afford, I don't knock it, do it. Great. But understand that that's a different podcast. We're gonna go into grooming on here. But from top to bottom, you want to make sure that it's good. So when you're sitting at a table, standing up at a trade show, whatever it is, you want to make sure your products are of quality. Not just high-end quality, but quality. Workers. It's going to last you. You can do it over and over again. It's going to last you years to come. The investment has an ROI of many, many years. I'm even now playing with gaffs the same way. Finding gaffs that are of quality and making sure that they're great and I can use them over and over again. So a great example I'll talk about is when I was performing cups and balls, I didn't want to get like a cheap set of cups. If I could have afforded it at the time, I probably would have gotten engraved, like Sherwood engraved cups. I think they're really classy. They're great. Just makes sense for me. But recently, after watching Bob White's video on cups and balls, I really wanted the P&L cups, copper P&L cups, and I found a set, and I love them. I think they're great. The ones behind me that you can kind of see, just your standard like Paul Fox cup. So there's a company, TCC, makes these balls. And when I do cups and balls, I do a final load, a big final load. I don't do the fruit. I'm not against it or anything. I don't do it. I think there's something magical about seeing a small go to big. I should have pulled the big. I didn't think to. But these are the TCC ones. These are like they're red. And I don't like the size of these. I don't like the size. They're already kind of fuzzy on the crochet. They have a good weight to them. There's just something about them I don't like the size of them. I don't like the color either. When they're in your hand, I feel like, it's really bold. You can really see it. Even if you give it some space, you can see it. I feel like it's really bright for it to be a red. And I just feel like the knitting around it's not as good of a quality as the next ball I'll show you. If you want to buy them, that's great. I think they would be better suited for like street performances. So people can see them from a lot of spots. I'm just amazed at how bright it is. And going by what Bob White says in the video, a maroon ball or a burgundy ball is more suited. For me, even if I have my hands spaced, you can't really see it. Even if it's like this, you can kind of sort of see it. The light's really bright. But if you have it in your hand, you can't, your hand's closed, you can't, decipher whether or not that's black or burgundy or maroon. So a darker ball is what I like, especially if I'm on a green close-up pad, it works better for me. Or my surface is green, or my surface is black. This one actually looks like that, so that's really interesting. The knitting on it's a lot better. These are from Rings and Things, and I got the final load for this one for my cups and balls for Rings and Things. This is 1 inch, I believe. I like the 3/4 inch one better. It fits a little bit better in my fingers. But yeah. So that's a great example of making sure that it's quality. Just even practicing with these, they don't get fuzzy very easily, and they're shinier. So I don't know if there's maybe like a silk in there or a rayon or something like that. But they look great. These ones, I feel like the knit. I don't know if the camera will pick that up, but the knit on those are you can see the cork in there or the wood or whatever's in there. These have just enough weight. The Rings and Things ones I feel like have just enough weight to them. They're not super heavy, but they're also not super light. They're great. Another example I'll use, we were talking about coin stuff in the last episode as well. Find some really good quality coins too. I've learned that along my journey, getting into coin effects, is that there's a coin shop locally in town that shout out to Chris Hannawell. He actually is the one who used to work at Eddie's Trick Shop here in Marietta. and would go. I guess he would, if he needed coins or something, would go there. So when I would go there and buy coins, he would be like, the owner would be like, "Oh, I know magicians. They need like a slicker coin. They need something that's a little bit more, worn." Yes, I know, but come to find out that the owner told me that he had magicians, but mainly Chris would go in there and ask for them. So shout out to Chris. He's out in Ohio. Thanks for that. So yeah, get a good quality coin. Let me think. So for the ball, Rings and Things or TCC. For the coin, you can go on to Schoolcraft, I think it is, Schoolcraft Precision. Or you can go on to the other one, Roy Cooper's. Cooper's coins. Those are really good. And to practice with, I just picked up David Roth's coins, the set that Murphy's put out. Get those. Those are great. My big one was cups, balls, wand. I've always loved ivory and ebony. I've always loved the classic magic wand. I also like a wizard wand, like a Harry Potter wand. Orange Tree Magic has a set where Jared Koff has an essay talking about cups and balls, and in that one is a wizard wand, and that one is pretty good. I just don't like the aluminum or the chrome. I don't like the silver look. I like copper or gold. But oops, that was loud. Sorry. I picked up this wand. This is ivory. I think it's 13.5 or 14.5. See if it will focus on that. Maybe not. I'm not going to sit here and do that. Ebony and ivory, faux ivory. But this wand is balanced and it feels good. The weight on it is good. The texture on the handle is really good. I wish he had one that had the gold around it, or at least copper or something. But regardless, I feel like this is a really good classic wand. When your audience sees you perform with stuff, you don't want to pull out like a plastic wand or like a really cheap looking wand or anything. This looks good. The best wand I've personally have seen. And really big shout out to Elliot Terrell. Elliot Terrell has Magical Thinking Podcast, which was originally part of Art of Magic, which was bought by Vanishing Ink, and he's slowly bringing back Magical Thinking Podcast, and he's doing some other content with it. But on his, I don't know if it's part of his membership or if you just have an account with him, one of the options you can do is a custom wand to you. $300. I don't know if that's the starting point or that's what it is solid, but $300, and that wand is beautiful. It's a perfect combination of like that, like obscureness of the Harry Potter wizard wands. Like it's custom to you, and you go into Ollivanders, and it's an experience for you. But it also gives the quality of the wand I just shared with you. Just beautiful wood and beautiful things in it, and so that's really amazing. So yeah, making sure your props and your effects and your tools are quality. You're dressed very well. You're pulling out even cards. Like, do I feel like being controversial? No, I don't. I prefer to use tally-ho cards. I feel like they're a little bit more classier. They're a little bit more timeless. It's my preference, and that's okay. There are some more modern brands that you can use that I think that can pass. Just everything. Just making sure everything is quality. Everything is top notch. The audience may not really, they may appreciate it, but they may not. But at the end of the day, like, if you're filming your show or whatever it is you're doing with it, when you look back on it, you say, the wooden box I used to hold everything was really quality. Maybe if it's even a personal touch, that's even better. I consider that quality. One of the things I have incorporated into my show is a story. I do the Haunted Key, but the other keys in the mix are keys that I collected either at an antique store or were gifted to me by my grandparents, or they belong to someone in our family, which is also really special. I think that's quality. If it was rusty and green and like gross looking, it adds to the effect, but it's going to smell like nickels and dimes. So, all of those things, building quality within your show, within your sets, within your repertoire, build substance. Substance is something that is on a really big upswing in magic right now. It's been for a little bit of time now, but all the magicians can say there was that weird gap of time between, here and here, where like everybody was just doing whatever, and the suits got bigger and they got baggier, and it just, I don't know, it was weird. I don't know if it was that time, but very cringy. A lot of great magic, don't get me wrong, but I think we were still coming out of post Vernon, post Miller, post Marlowe, and everybody was trying to figure it out. And I'll talk about that timeline a little bit too. It creates substance in your show. There's a magician right now, a good buddy of mine. I'm not going to say his name. He knows who he is if he's listening. Is doing great things in New York, and originally from Canada. And he's been out at the castle, and I'm very disappointed that I didn't go out and see him when he was there a few weeks ago. But when he was there, he has a photographer with him, and just looking at some of the photos, the suit on point, grooming on point, the effects chosen that are pictured that I've seen on point. It makes sense. I've also talked extensively with this person for quite some time now, about many different things, and it doesn't surprise me. He gets it, but he's creating substance in his magic now. Like hearing him talk about it and then him doing it and putting the two together is creating substance. He's now creating substance with his magic. It's that certain thing about your magic or your show or you as a magician that just stands out a little bit more than the rest. There also was a really big time period, like I said before, where that was lacking in magic. It was just like Ambitious Card and 3-card Bonnie and and it was, everybody was kind of, but the ones who were improving on all of it, now we look at them and respect them as peers, as masters, that sort of thing. Where do you find the stuff? I've mentioned Rings and Things. I've mentioned a great place I like to go is Quicker Than the Eye. I'm not sure how they handle that stuff, if it's leftover stuff from the Potter auctions or what, or just people are selling stuff. So, Quicker Than the Eye, Dawn's Magic Books, get in contact with people on Facebook groups, magic collectors groups, all that stuff. It takes a little bit of footwork and elbow grease to kind of find this stuff, but when you find it, you'll find it. Magic wands are I'm kind of in a love-hate relationship with the magic wands right now, because there's some good ones on the market, and you can find a really good one that doesn't require being custom. Another plug, not getting paid to say it. I don't even know that they're gonna know, but Rolando Medina Magic. I think it's RolandoMedinaMagic.com. Google it. I'm not sure, but great stuff. He has a voodoo doll. Looks super creepy. Looks like it comes from a horror movie, like a witch made it. It's great. He has wands. He has, even the deck of cards is like the original like wizard deck artwork and things like that. That's what I'm talking about. Substance. You're creating something that's not. It creates a substance. It creates a certain. Nobody else is doing that right now. That's what I like. I think it's great. And buy your stuff with quality. If I think of any more, I might put something in the comment section on the podcast page, maybe Spotify. wherever you're listening to us. Spotify is where you can kind of interact with me a little bit more. If you need to email me, that's directly, it's mosession, no S, P-O-D, at gmail.com. That's mosessionpod@gmail.com. I love hearing from people. I've heard from a couple people already, and we've just kind of been corresponding and talking and things like that, catching up because they were one of the original listeners and things like that. I want to talk about a book really quick that I've kind of been diving into out of the many books I've been checking out, and this is Di Vernon, Spirit of Magic. You can get it at magicana.com or .org, I think it is. Written by David Ben. This was a FISM, Quebec, however you want to say it. Whatever's appropriate to say. 2022. But I was talking about, David Ben calls it the constellation of magic. And in the constellation of magic, he talks about it's the first time that I've actually seen magic on a timeline in terms of pre-Vernon, during Vernon, post-Vernon, contemporaries, and things like that. He really breaks it up into this whole kind of sort of constellation. And yeah, I do feel like there was a whole gap in magic. Post-Vernon, I feel like there should have been more magicians continuing to try to ascend the art and elevate it, and they fell very much short of that. And I feel like we talk about the golden age of magic and it being dead and it won't come back or experiencing it. But I think we're getting a reprise in the golden age of magic for sure. I think right now what's happening with magic, what's been happening with magic is we're headed towards a really big golden age of magic. New York City is the hot spot again for magic. Chicago is becoming a hot spot for magic, but in a new way, not so much bar magic, although they honor it very much and it's still very much alive there. And the Magic Castle, when there's certain magicians there, has become the place to be, to check out magicians and things like that. I wish the same thing would apply for local magic clubs too, and giving it the same respect that it deserves. Being, in my opinion, being part of clubs or societies now is just as much as getting your driver's license or joining, I don't know, a newsletter online. Anyone could do it. It's what it means, what it stands for. What does it mean? So I am a member of both societies and brotherhoods, and there's always room for improvement, and I think that that's what's important, is that if there's room for improvement, it could lead to something great. So that's what I've been reading, that's what I've been checking out. That's why I think it's important to have quality products and magic effects and things like that. Even wallets, real quickly, I'll just say wallets. Like, there's been a few wallets I've been checking out, and one that I'm just obsessed with, just constantly looking at, thinking about trying to do differently, is Jeff Price's wallet that he recently came out with. Available on plainsightmagic.com. Not getting paid to promote it, not getting paid to do any of that. Just want to mention it. I think it's a really great place for a magician to check out some stuff. Sorry about the mess in the back. We're still unpacking. We moved. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you watching. I would love for you to communicate with me. Reach out. Tell me what you think. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. No, don't tell me that. Just tell me all the things I'm doing right. Thank you so much for coming back on this adventure of the MO sessions and journeying through magic. Last episode I talked about maybe doing some subscriber stuff. Maybe, I don't know. If we want to start opening up some of this stuff back here, do a deep dive on that, maybe talk about that. There's a book all the way up at the top. Maybe we talk about that. Maybe we talk about that. I don't know. Or maybe we talk about this guy. Or maybe we talk about that guy. You can't see him, but he's over there. Not actually here. It's "And a Pack of Cards" by Jack. I look forward to being back. I'm glad to be back, and I'll see you in the next episode.